We are live, Commonwealth Sports Betting 2023 US Open. We've got a dandy, folks. We are headed out to the left coast. For those of you that aren't ardent golf fans, that is not a common occurrence. The Open courses traditionally lean toward the Northeast, maybe the Midwest, a little Ohio, Pennsylvania, Long Island. Very rare. Obviously, you don't see U.S. Opens south of the Mason-Dixon much anymore. It's just because of weather and heat, obviously. In Florida and places like Arizona, it's 100 degrees. I don't know how you guys do it. But an awesome venue. We're going to talk about a course. Again, my name's on the screen. It's Ray Grayfox. I appear on the golf segments with our primary host and star, who is on screen next to me. That would be better known as at Best Pie Bets. Ethan is in the house.
Let's go.
Let's go. In the desert. I like to call him a young missile launcher because he's firing right now, folks. So we're all excited about the 23 Open. It's a really cool course. It's a really cool course designer, a guy that actually did LA Country Club, did Riviera, did Bel Air, all acclaimed venues there in California. And did not take the big money. Didn't go all over the country and do hundreds and hundreds of courses like he could have. He had an amazing resume and just kind of, I think he did between 10 and 12 from what I read, and most of them are out there. So we're going to do a little course breakdown. We're going to talk some players with you. We're going to give you a couple of complimentary selections. So I'm going to pass it over to the man, the myth, the legend, Ethan at Best Pie Bet. Tell us about this quirky U.S. Open venue.
Quirky U.S. Open venue. I'd like to say, hey, everyone in the chat, probably because of that weird haircut. Yes, I think my lack of hair is messing with the internet signal. I think that's definitely one of the issues here. But for this quirky design, it's about 7,426 yard par 70. There we go. Got the 2014. Interesting enough. What's cool about this course, it goes first major venue with Bermuda Rough since Pinehurst number 2 in 2014. So very, very interesting stuff here. Cool. So it's kind of different from kind of what we're used to in California swing events with the Kikuya and Poana, stuff like that, but bent grass greens. So recently transitioned to them. I don't know how recent that transition was, but recently they changed to bent grass.
I think 2010 was the redesign, something like that. 2012.
Oh, okay. So yeah, somewhat recent. Well, but they described the greens as small, quirky, bent, fast, and firm, basically, and gonna have to be playing shots away from the flag here to. Can't go at every single flag. Got to use the slopes to your advantage. Everyone going crazy about the 2 par 3s that are over 280 yards on Twitter and stuff like that. Everyone's losing their hair, saying like, yeah, I would hit, just like me, I would probably hit, hopefully hit driver and then maybe hit a 9-iron and then hopefully the 2-putt for bogey if that's like the perfect game plan for me there. But 1 par 3 could play as short as about 76 yards, so it's pretty cool that they're incorporating a very short, awkward little shot for these guys, honestly. And I heard somewhere on Instagram or Ricky Fowler's caddy said, think if they're if it's a front flag location, he's probably going to lay up to the front flag location when it's a par 3 76 yards. So he's going to try to be short of that so he can chip it uphill, and rather than be long and try to chip downhill and try to keep it, so interesting stuff. These guys are the best, players in the world, and they're thinking about laying up from 76 yards. So pretty cool. Rough comes more into play around the greens, very more so. It's pretty thick around there. You see all the videos on Twitter, people dropping them and the ball's disappearing. Thank goodness they have volunteers there spotting for the balls, because these rounds would take 7 hours to try to find some of these balls. Even they're right next to the green, they're basically gone underneath. You couldn't even see it from walking up there. So yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be a cool course. Not too overly long as what we're used to in US Open, events. Anytime they go to Torrey Pines, they're stretching at 78, 7,900 yards, what they measure, of course. So, and obviously it's going to play a lot shorter than what the scorecard indicates and stuff. They a lot of downhill, firm and fast fairways, so you don't have to land it right on the green. Like, for example, for that par 3 that everyone's going crazy over, it's 284 or something yards, and people can hit iron and land it short and it'll roll up on there. So it's not a forced carry or anything like that, and it's not fully 290 yards because it's playing downhill. So just interesting enough. I know people, been going crazy about that, but hey, they get the preferred lie. They get to put that ball on a tee peg and go at it, basically. So that's what we're going to be seeing, and it's going to be testing a lot of people's games, that's for sure. So I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. It's a really cool design. It sort of has a little Australia in it, sort of has a little coastal in it. And there it is embedded right in the Hollywood Hills. I mean, right there, right in the thick of things, one of the, sickest neighborhoods in the country. It is rare. This one's kind of tough. Like I was telling, me and Ethan were talking earlier, and I was like, I'm not sure how good I'm vibing on this. It's hard to vibe on this open because it's so much different stuff. And we've been talking all week in our handicapping. We obviously are looking at recent majors. We're obviously looking at recent form, but now you have to slide in that California form, right? And Ethan did some good research, and he's going to share some points with you later on kind of some stuff that he unearthed as he was looking through that California swing. It is different, in conversations we've had, you talk about handicapping golf. It's, you can obviously recent form and major form and all that stuff is key, but playing golf in Florida, the Northeast, California, the desert, that's drastically different golf, and not very many people do all of those geographical areas well. Guys have better success in Florida. We used to call it the Florida Swing Kings, right? It's like the Florida Swing came around, you knew the guys that were going to come to the forefront. They were mostly the guys that, again, were from Bermuda grass. They were used to playing on it. So I'm excited, honestly, about this Open. I think it does provide a lot of, some of these numbers that we're seeing from certain books, and I'm not going to bury books for it, but if you can bet golf at Circa, I'm going to tell you to bet golf at Circa, because the menu is there and the odds are right, and the hold, especially for those of you betting outrights. If you're betting at MGM on an outright right now, you're losing so much money on what you could get at a place like Circa. So be careful with that. We're going to have a little discussion on some outright odds. I don't do too many outrights because, again, you'll see a lot of posts on Twitter. Somebody does 7 or 8 outrights, and 50 to 1, the long shot comes in. It's not really 50 to 1 if you do 8 plays at equal value. Other people break it down and do smaller bets at higher odds, and they do it X amount of. It's no matter what, it's more than 1 unit. So if you put more than 1 outright, I think this guy's going to win, but I think this guy could win. Now you bet them both. You just cut the odds in half, and every time you do that exponentially, that works that way. So I just want to caution people on your outrights. Taking 10 outrights where your best one's 40 to 1, you're getting a 4 to 1 winner out of 150 golfers going into a major championship. You might win, but you definitely get the right odds. I want to take a moment. This U.S. Open special, Ethan, for those of you in the Northeast corridor, Delaware, Philly, Northern Maryland there, Good Child Auto. There it is. Good Child Auto and Towing. That's for your automotive. Nobody wants to break down. You get broke down on the side of the road. You call Good Child. They tow it. Guess what else they do? They fix it. And guess what they don't do? Rip you off. Ask for Tommy at Good Child Towing and Inc. in Newark, Delaware, home of the mighty Fighting Blue Hens. Want to take a moment. Shout Joe O, Carol Ann, Tom D. We got a lot of good chat. I think I saw Susan Curry from La Jolla. I hope I said that right.
Jolla.
Jolla, not La Jolla.
La Jolla.
So really here, happy for everyone joining us in the chat. Again, we talked about not too many outrights. I know we like to do placement and matchup bets. I sort of favor a little bit more of the matchups, but working with Ethan has, number one, I want to say working with Ethan has been one of the greatest things about us both joining Commonwealth Sports, because I've learned so much, and that's the thing. That's what we really try to do with this, is to educate people and learn. We're not here to say, Ethan, you suck because you don't do it the right way. Ray, you suck because you're old and bald. It's not about that. It's about learning. And one of the great joys of Commonwealth for me is getting to meet, interact, and handicap with Ethan, because he is very, very good at what he does. And he's kind of taken me a little more into the what we call the place or placement field bets.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about top 5, top 10, top 20, top 40, sir?
Oh yeah, no, same here. Definitely learned. I've been looking at more and more matchups and try to find it's different perspective. You're looking at it, you're like, okay, I need to find one guy I like, and then one guy basically don't like for the week, and then you kind of can try to find certain matchups where it looks, profitable for you and stuff like that. It's fun bouncing ideas back and forth from each other. Learn a lot, that's for sure, and especially with your firsthand knowledge in the golf industry as well. So it's always been a pleasure. But yeah, I like these. Mostly what I've been doing, just a lot of top 40 bets. I like to pick a few at plus money. I don't have to, win them all basically, or win, more than I can. Some of them based on the odds, I can lose, more than I win, and still get a profit based on like the plus money. Always great. I'm always going to say it every time, but every time it's like BetMGM is the best place for it. Placements. It sometimes drives me crazy with some of the odds they do and what goes on in their app, but it's I don't know any other place where they give you ties paid in full. And I'm just going to keep doing it until they don't do that anymore. And and then I'll find somewhere else to go. And
so I'm seeing the ticker still going. I got a feeling, I don't know, somebody out there can tell me. I think Ethan has had a screen freeze, which was some of the problems we were having earlier that we were trying to fix. Somebody in the chat, if you just give me a shout, let me know. I see the time still going on the show, so I assume we're still live. He's got his nice smile there frozen on my screen and what I'm looking at. So if anybody out there can tell me what you're looking at, I don't want to, if the whole show crashed, I certainly don't want to continue to talk for 10 more minutes. And nobody's listening. So froze. So he froze, but I'm still coming through, Joe. Perfect. If that's the case, we can continue. He'll just log out and log back in, and I think he'll probably come on a little bit better. So as soon as he logs back in, we'll go back. And I know everybody watching would much rather look at Ethan's glorious face than mine. So U.S. Open West Coast. One of the things Ethan talked about in the course setup, and I've seen a lot talked about, bantered about in this, is like, oh my God, there's a 290-yard par three. There's a 90-yard par three. So people can get caught up in handicapping golf into here comes Ethan back in, by the way.
I froze. I'm back. I don't know what's going on, but I'm back here. But yeah, like I was saying, with the placement bets, you can, find a few you like, a handful, and then it's not like the book's holding your money at like a minus, whatever, 140, 150 bet for the whole weekend. It's kind of nice. You have other, people to root for. Top 40s, you can find some good value in that range, like in the plus range. You can find some guys that are trending up. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with I think my haircut screwed up like Joe said, all my internet here. So, but yeah, always gonna. I wish one book will eventually do these ties included, like paid in full. I don't know why no other book has already, because it's kind of BetMGM has a kind of a monopoly on that kind of market, because you don't want to place any placement bets on other places, even though you might get a higher payout. you'll get cut through the winnings, especially in these major events where it's so stacked, all these scores. No one's going to be, it's not going to be minus 26 or minus 20 who's going to win. It's going to be probably in single digits, minus single digits. And there's going to be a lot of people stacked at 1, 2, like 1 stroke back, 2 strokes back, 3 strokes back. So it's important to try to get that, ties paid in full, basically. I hope somewhere, sometime, some other book will do it, because I can actually compare the two and, kind of line shop that way. But here I have to bet it on BetMGM, and no, I'm not even going to look at the other places because no reason to do that. But I'm glad I'm back. Exactly. It's working a little better.
Oh yeah, you're golden. You're golden. It happened. It's we got overcast here today, so I wouldn't be surprised to see mine glitch. I live in the middle of between two mountains. But so I was talking earlier while you cut out, the big deal being made about the long par 3, the short par 3. Listen, a 290-yard par 3 that plays effectively 260. So let's just talk about that one. So when you see a tour player on a par 5 and he takes the head cover off of a 3-wood and he's hitting his second shot into a par 5, his intent obviously is at worst to hit the green and then 2-putt, or get it around the green and then get it up and down. 3 shots is what he's looking for, is my point. So your second shot on a par 5 with a 3-wood from 260, one thing you virtually are guaranteed to not have, well, you're 100% guaranteed to not have a peg under it, but you're virtually guaranteed to also not have a perfectly flat lie. 100% graded out U.S. Open tee. You could cook eggs on it. It's like a skillet top. So, so that guy's trying to hit a 3-wood and then take 2 shots from there, take 3 shots total from 260, and that would be a birdie in that case in a par 5. Well, on the par 3 that's 260, the mindset's still the same, but he gets the advantage of putting a peg under it and being on a perfectly flat lie, and also the movement within the tee markers. So like people don't think the difference, but when you have an approach shot, if you could actually, from the fairway, you could pick your ball up and move it 10, 12 feet, whatever the distance to the tee markers is, to the other side of the marker, it can totally change the perception of the shot, open it up to your eyes. So, that, and then again, when you see a tour player standing over a 90-yard wedge shot, I can promise you 100, not 100 times out of 100, because it's a major, and some holes you just are not green lit, even though it's 90 yards. But on a green light, 90-yard shot, his goal is always going to be up and down, birdie, from the fairway. So why would that? Now he goes to the par 3, he gets to put a peg under it, he gets to pick his side of the tee box, and he gets a perfectly flat lie. So don't get caught up when you're handicapping too much in the way the course lays out. In other words, what does a guy have to do really well in this Open to win? That's what we call in the handicapping business an indicator. Certain indicators have higher win probabilities. Okay, think about football really quick. Teams that gain 200 yards more than the other team win the games way more than they lose the games. That's an indicator. So the same thing in golf, and me and Ethan were talking earlier. It was like, even though I got lambasted for abbreviating it SGA, I was referring to SGAP, strokes gained approach. And I saw some data from some people this week that said, the last 9 champions have been top 10 in strokes gained approach. So I kind of felt like I had to justify myself to Ethan, because I was focusing on other areas of my handicapping when it came to the way, the shots that players play. And I said, listen, it's a U.S. Open. When you go into a U.S. Open, I can promise you this. I mean, throw the wing foot one out with Bryson, the COVID U.S. Open. That was just an anomaly. You're going to have to hit fairways. And in order to hit greens in a U.S. Open, you need to be playing from the fairway. If you go out there and they say, hey, Ethan, you get to play LACC tomorrow. We're going to give you a 290-yard drive on every par 4 and par 5. Okay? But we're gonna just drop the ball from shoulder height in the rough, and you play it from there. I mean, but even a tour player, it's just you're just not going to hit as many greens from the rough. So you can say, well, the winner's always in the top 10 in strokes gained approach. Yeah, it's a U.S. Open. You can't win it from the rough. You're not going to win playing it out of the rough. So, my focus this week in my handicapping was certainly the T-ball accuracy, was certainly the short game, strokes gained around the green, ATG, as the cool kids like Pie Bet say it. SGATG, I think is the correct abbreviation there. But and again, putting. When we're talking about putting U.S. Open greens, I mean, they're you just know that they're going to be. And this course, by the way, looks like it's going to bake out. I think it's going to be tan when they get to the weekend. One of the things I always said, the worst thing they ever named the putting surfaces were greens, because the worst ones I ever putted on had the most green color to them. More green is more grass. More grass is not good on a green. Grass is grain. Doesn't matter if it's bent or Bermuda, folks. Bermuda grows with grain. Bent, the grain goes where the drain goes. So there's always grain on greens. The more green you see, the more grain there is, the more variance there is in putting. When you see those things go tan, they're as pure as silk. So I said they should have named them tans, but I don't think that would have sounded good at all.
Yeah, not as cool.
It's not nearly as cool sounding, and the term in golf, green for green, right? The greener you want your course, the more green you got to spend. So that's a whole other form of it. But I think I just didn't get caught up too much in strokes gained approach this week, because your strokes gained approach is probably going to be dictated by hitting fairways. And if you don't hit fairways, you're not going to hit that many greens. I don't care if you're the best iron player. I don't care if you're Mo Norman, greatest ball striker in the history of the planet. He can't not score from the rough in a U.S. Open. And he knows it. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. So we did focus a little on that. And obviously that we talked a little about the geographical bias. Talk a little about that. We spoke about that before, Ethan, just handicapping regions, or, whether you handicap a state, a turf, a region. I do regions. What do you do?
I kind of look more so. I look at the region, but I look more so. The biggest thing I look at is past, is the recent form, and then basically past course form. But I like to look at sometimes, when they go to the Florida swing, when you get a lot of, low numbers that people are shooting, you don't have a lot of room for error. So you got to look at these things, look at okay, this guy actually putts well on Bermuda, or this guy doesn't putt well on Bermuda. And like if a lot of these early in the season events, they're kind of birdie fests. Ultimately, like Rahm got outed one time. He was walking, it was American Express Open or something a couple of years ago. And he's just like, I fucking hate this course. It's a fucking putting contest. And he got caught on the hot mic. And he's basically, it is. It's because you can hit it 40 yards left and you still have a clear shot into the green out of, dormant Bermuda rough or whatever, or not like rough that's non-existent. And you can hit it onto the green and put it to, 20, 30 feet. And then it's all putting from there. So you got to look at that. It's especially in the earlier, in the earlier events. But now, of course, same here, you don't have a lot of leeway. There's not going to be a large variance of scoring, of course. So most of these guys that are on the tour, they can putt. Like everyone can putt like pretty well. They've all shot their fair share of like 64s, 63s, 65s on all these courses and stuff. And you have to make putts. So it's more so beneficial to look at, like you said, off the tee, see if they're actually hitting the fairway, and then around the green, can they get up and down? Not as many of the tour players can get up and down as well as other ones. I think there's more variance in that, if that makes sense, rather than putting or stuff like that.
That's a great point. And again, we didn't just look at, the hot button last few weeks, because if you looked at the last few weeks of your short game, strokes gained around the green, you would see Memorial, you would see Oak Hill, you would see the Canadian course, all of which would have totally different surfaces and agronomy than what they're playing this week. By looking at the totality of the season, if your tops in strokes gained around the green at this point in the year, mid-June, you've done it in California, you've done it in Florida, you've done it in the Northeast, You've done it in the Midwest, and now you're going back to the West, where clearly, and then again we attacked also the strokes gained around the green in the Western events. That's key too as well. But if you've done it for a whole season at this point, I promise you, the guy's not going to get greenside and go, I don't know what to do. He's done it all over the country, and in some cases all over the world to get those.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, it's because everyone's going to miss. It's going to be hard for anyone to hit 18 of 18 greens, 18 of 18 fairways. It's kind of basically impossible. So you got to be able, if you hit your shot 5 yards left and miss the green, you gotta be able to get up and down with these. Seen a lot of different techniques that guys are trying to put as much spin on the ball and the shortest amount of distance, basically try to keep it from rolling all the way off. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be guys are going to be very creative around the greens, that's for sure. Because I mentioned it yesterday. Bryson was using the back of his club to pop it out of the thick rough and roll it on. I have no spin, of course, or you're not going to get much spin anyway. But it's crazy. It's like people are just doing wacky stuff to see what will be easiest for them to try to get up and down. Basically, that's all they want. They're not trying to chip it in, but they're trying to get up and down and get a par and move to the next hole.
Where I think you're going to see that be impactful this week is what's the short one where it's blind? I want to say 6, but I think I'm wrong. There's a tree. It's the hole they're debating whether they're going to lay up on or try to hit the green on, the par 4.
The par 4. Oh yeah, I think it. I don't know if it. I think it might be 6, but
it's not really a dog leg, but it wraps around a big tree that blocks your view of the green. It's got a single bunker in front. It's got closely mown area on the right, and then you can lay up down the left with an iron. But they were saying that was when I was telling you Morikawa's caddy. Morikawa said going into all season long when he knew that the Open was going to be there, he was committed to laying up all 4 days on that par 4, playing. And he said we got to the course, and Morikawa was from out west, if I'm not mistaken. They got to the course, and his caddy, he said in 3 minutes, his caddy convinced him why they will probably never. The only time they'll lay up is on a front right flag, because that gives you the angle from the left side layup area. It's a little bending left to right par 4. I could be wrong on the whole. I think it's 6, but I could be totally wrong. But there's a case where you were talking about short game, right, of getting it up and down, which is every tour player's goal when he misses a green, obviously. But when you start to get into the kind of conditions that are at LACC, you can go for that green, and there's a bunker in front. Now, if they let you drop it in that bunker 4 days, and I saw somebody comment that if I could hit it in that bunker all 4 days, I would. Well, it's like hitting a nickel with a driver. I mean, it's a small target to hit with a driver.
Yeah.
If you were to hit it, you would probably play the hole in 2 to 2.5 under par for the week, no matter where the flags are. All 4 days, you would be loved to be in that bunker. But surrounding that bunker is super, super combed over. I mean, bad toupee, bad toupee grass, and there's different forms of it all over the country. In Georgia, they called it love grass. They used to ask, is that because of Davis Love? No, it's because if you get in it, you're. But anyway, this grass is the same way. It's just combed over. It's just blown, and it's so gnarly and nasty that when you hit it in there, you're laying 1 on a par 4, 20 yards from the flagstick. If you could leave it in it, and then you could turn into a 7, or you could catch all ball and it explodes out. And the green's only 14 or 15 paces deep, I think you were telling me. It flies over the green and goes into on the other side? The exact same grass. So I think that's why that short game is so critical, because what a good short game, what a player with a good short game knows how to do is to make bogey the worst outcome when the outcome doesn't look great. So there's times, when you come up on a shot around the greens, your first thought as you walk up caddy and player is, we're going to hold this. Okay. You say that in regular events pretty often from a good lie. Like you might be on the fringe or first cut and you're uphill, and your first thought is hold the damn thing. Your second thought, leave it close and tap it in, give me par or birdie if it's a par 5. But what you do, what a good short game, a person with a good short game does when they get around situations, they look at it and they go, okay, I probably can't get this within 20 feet or 10 feet. So how do I make sure I don't hit a shot? I hit a shot that takes worse than bogey out of play. You have to take doubles are the enemy in U.S. Opens. Doubles drag you down because there's not that many birdies out there. Okay. It's not that, it's not another tournament where you could go out there and make a double and then birdie 5 of the next 6 and be like, oh, it's forgotten. I mean, you might do that obviously, but it's the guys, what good short game indicates to me is they know when they can hole it. They know when it's a fairly manageable up and down that they just want to get up there real tight and have a tap in. And they know when they get over it and go, okay, the possible outcomes here are 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. How do I avoid everything above 5 in the case of a par 4? So I think you hit on a good point there, and that's why, to me, the short game throughout the season, strokes gained around the green throughout the season, was a critical number going into this week, and that did land us on a couple of folks. And if you want to cover, Ethan, some of the guys that you unearthed in our West Coast and strokes around the green group, you don't give them everyone. I mean, golly, all day we made probably have 15 bets between the two of us on this thing. We're not giving 15 bets out for free. But do that. I mean, I already gave one on Twitter. If you haven't, I think a poor guy in my home state. I don't know him, but I know he's he's up there by JMU. I think Lynchburg, somewhere around Lynchburg. I think he actually liked it because I mean, somebody out there is like, I don't think Commonwealth has posted a golf loser yet. Well, if we have, you definitely haven't lost money on it. You made many units so far in golf on just
that's for sure.
Looking on Twitter and going, Commonwealth Sports had a tweet. So give us some thoughts on what you unearthed while talking about strokes gained around the green and the West Coast gang.
So what was interesting enough, I was looking at the top 10 in driving accuracy for this event because how you were talking about with the approach. If you miss the fairway, I mean your strokes gained approach is going to be way worse than someone who hit the fairway of any tour pros any other time. So really interesting here. He hasn't been doing too hot recently with it, but it was just interesting. Tom Kim came up. He's 5th in top 10 driving accuracy. Also, he was last year in strokes gained around the green. Looking at the Genesis, he was this previous year, this event, the Genesis, this tour season, let's say it, he was 10th in strokes gained around the green. So for that tournament, and it's kind of that's good to have. Basically, it's good to be there. Another guy, really interesting. He hasn't been having the greatest of seasons, but he's a household name. He's 40-1 to win. JT, 9th in strokes gained around the green this season, and he was 11th in this Genesis's the last Genesis Invitational in strokes gained around the green. So he's been getting up and down. Man, his driving accuracy isn't great though for this season, that's for sure. So is kind of interesting there. I'm trying to think of one more guy for you guys, but Kuchar, Matt Kuchar, another guy popped up 4th in strokes gained around the green. He's been in it, knows how to score, knows how to play these events. Kuchar also in the previous Genesis Invitational, 7th in strokes gained around the green. Pretty, kind of interesting stuff. He's going to be good when he's getting up there around, and I think he can do. I think he could do some good stuff. Here. What another guy that kind of popped out to me, might not be on too many people's radar, but it's Brendan Todd. Brendan Todd, he's 13th in driving accuracy this season, but also he's 5th in strokes gained around the green this season. So interesting stuff there. If you're driving it well and you can get up and down, I don't know what more can you want there. Basically, I know you have iron game and stuff like that, but hey, if you're hitting the fairways, it's going to make that so much more easier than if guys are spraying it all over the place. But yeah, maybe I should just change it to a toupee. Honestly, Kim, maybe that'll help my internet connection as well. So I don't have to mess with that. Brendan Todd, yeah.
I'm wearing mine right now. I mean, you can my toupee has a shine to it. It's very nice. I actually got it out in the Hollywood Hills. I've actually been to Hollywood and all the Rodeo Drive and all that stuff. Traffic's a nightmare. Give me Santa Monica, even though traffic's a nightmare in Santa Monica. But I like Santa Monica is a really chill, cool town on that in that area. But give me San Francisco over all of them. I'm definitely a San Francisco fan. The food and drink in San Francisco and the music scene is fire. Anyways, we came to talk about golf. So, covering that West Coast trend, covering that short game trend, probably gave you some news there. So obviously we're going to talk about, other things you might look at when you're handicapping golf. You're looking obviously at recent form and you're looking at recent major history. So I always look back at usually the last four majors, and in Ray's world, the Players counts as a major. This is not the place for a debate. You didn't hear me call it a major. You didn't hear me call it the fifth major. There's four majors in golf. I'm not a revolutionary. I'm a traditionalist, believe it or not. But if you talk to the players, the guys who play the game, when they go into the Players Championship, it's with a major championship mentality. Why? The perks that come with winning it. It's basically your good for life tournament. So that's when they focus on it like that, that amps my focus up. Yeah. There's those, what do they call them now? Primary events or whatever.
Designated or elevated or something.
Sorry, thank you. Designated events, Memorial, Bay Hill. I mean, these are, everybody wants to win Memorials, Jack's tournament. Everyone wants to win Bay Hill, but there's guys that are playing in the U.S. Open that didn't even play in those events. So, just to understand, I look at the last four majors, and obviously early in the season, that involves, like when you're handicapping the player, you're looking at last year's British, U.S., PGA, Masters. And as we move along now, the data starts to become more into this year's PGA, Masters, and Players. So I obviously look at that, the recent major, what I call major form, even though I slipped the Players in there. And then obviously a U.S. Open is different than a PGA, is different than a Masters, is different than a British. Just like a Derby is different from a Preakness, is different from a Belmont. There's a reason why. There's more than one reason why it's hard to win all four. Okay, because they're all four run by different agencies. Okay, and they're all done with different mentalities on setup and the way the test should look. So in the case of a U.S. Open, I'm not only going to look at past recent majors, but I'm going to look into last 4 to 5 years of the tournament itself. I don't go much further back than that, and you'll kind of see why when I reveal some of the data. But if you list out the top 20 in 22, 21, 20, and 19, and again, even though a COVID year, they did play that Open that Bryson won in 20 at Winged Foot, COVID year with no crowds. But two games. I mean, I'll just go down some of the, because we do need to cover some key names. I know we sometimes do these shows and everybody's like, well, you didn't talk about Scotty. Well, that's because MGM has him at plus 250 to win it. Yeah, obviously Scotty can win it. But so Patrick Cantlay, top 20 in the last 2 years. And obviously recent form, very good. Russell Henley, top 20 and 21. Victor Hovland, top 20, 19 and 20. So that's kind of odd, right? He's had a couple of years where he hasn't done well, and now he's really peaking his game. So he's obviously a guy that when he wasn't the player he is today, he top 20'd in back-to-back U.S. Opens. He's a better player in 23 than he was in 19 and 20. I promise you that. So Hovland, a guy that's played U.S. Opens well. Scotty Scheffler, obviously top 20 the last 2 years, one of the favorites to win it. Jordan Spieth got his top 20 in 21. Live golfer Patrick Reed, who actually I think could make a little noise this week, top 20 in 20 and 21. Hideki Matsuyama in 20 and 22. One of my guys that I've got some interest in this week, some investments in, Colin Morikawa, T20 last 2 years, just like Cantlay. Rahm, top 20 in 19, 21, and 22. So he's a 3-time top 20 guy in the last 4 years. And then there was only, what I said, it was 2 guys that did it for the last 4, did it all last 4 years. And that would be Rory McIlroy and the X-Man.
X-Man.
Shuffle. So, by watching this show, you didn't have to do 2 minutes worth of handicapping that we did a bunch of time on. And you get that recent U.S. Open data pool of guys that have performed well in this specific tournament, which is certainly important. Pi, I know I've got, at this point, I have quite a few bets in on this golf tournament, and I'm sort of centered around some guys, and I added mine, one that I didn't really have a bet on going into 15 minutes before the show. I made the bet. I think I told Ethan about it backstage in the studio. But if you want to get into, I know you have a good comp selection, and I'm obviously already on that because you sent it to me pre-show. If you want to get into,
for sure, yeah, no, going with, so like I was looking at strokes gained around the green. Home to scene in San Francisco is fire also these days.
I haven't, Joe. I gotta say, it's been a little bit since I've been out there, like a good long bit actually. But to me, they had great music, they had great food, the people were really nice. I was there right after that. Was Hugh Grant got caught with a hooker that was a man? I think somebody that's older than Ethan will know about this. Ethan will not know what I'm talking about.
Nope.
I know that's pretty dicey, but I just thought it was, as far as California goes, LA is a nightmare. Everything about LA is a nightmare. San Diego's for the rich and powerful, super rich. San Francisco seemed like a city that I could have at that time would have been okay living in. Joe,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not up on the local scene there now.
Oh man, but yeah, no, going with what we were just talking about, I listed out a bunch, like the top 13 guys in strokes gained around the green for this season. Number 11 comes in Chris Kirk. I like him a lot. Top 40 plus 138. He's been churning it out.
Ethan, I just need 1 second. I'm gonna have I'm gonna have a fax man moment right now.
Oh, fax man moment.
If you look at the comments, I just want to see DW is in the house. DW is probably our harshest on YouTube. So many negative comments for free content. Here's what's hilarious. His comment, and I could highlight it, but that's probably a little, even mentioning it is probably too much. But DW, buddy, his comment is, the only thing worse than watching golf is watching people talk about golf. Yet you logged into the 2023 U.S. Open at LACC discussion and preview.
And watched it.
Hey, DW, if you don't like porn, don't go on Pornhub, bud. Okay? If you don't like to talk about golf betting, get the hell off the damn channel, dude. Or, guess what? See the other names on this list? They're actually listening, and they're watching the plays we're saying, and they're making money. You must hate money, too, D-Dub. So, if you don't want to watch shows about golf, get the fuck off and go watch one about knitting, dude. I don't care.
Yeah. World Knitting Championships is coming up.
DW, we post every result we have. We're totally open with everybody. We're giving winners. Okay, so move on down to the next one, DW. We appreciate you. If you want to sign up, I'll give you 20% off the next 6 months right now on code DW. Ethan.
Let's go. Chris Kirk, plus 138, top 40. BetMGM as always. But looking at his past, major form, T29 PGA, T23 Masters, last year T42 the Open, still right there on the number, and T5 last year's PGA. So, he's been there. He's been through the major, the major scenario, major tournaments, basically, gained strokes around the green in 13 of his last 14 events. That's key here. 13 of last 14, and and I think 7 or 8 in a row, he gained strokes around the green. And that's just consistency. That's knowing like, okay, if I miss the green here, I'm going to get up and down here. I'm going to make this at least blow up hole as possible. Also, he's a little bit better than tour average with the driving accuracy. So I think, he should be a little bit lower plus 138 is a pretty good payout for this guy who's been racking up T40s, it seems like, in these major events. So that's what I'm going to do. Chris Kirk, T40 plus 138 on BetMGM. That's what I like.
I love it, Ethan. Chris Kirk. When Wayne Huizenga fought Frederica, I was out there, and Frederica probably had 50 tour players that were members at the time. It was basically it was where all the tour player instructors were teaching out of, was St. Simon's Island. And so if you were a tour player and your teacher was there, by the way, it's one of the greatest places to live on the East Coast by far, St. Simon's Island.
Yes.
Absolute heaven, I will tell you that. There you go, D-Dub. I'm not talking about golf. I'm talking about one of the sweetest places to live. You got something there?
Yeah, there we go.
That's what we're doing. So at Frederica, I told Ethan this story, but like before a British Open, the road hole, but they would dig a bunker, build a brand new bunker with a sod face, because that's what they do in British Opens. It's a different style bunkering than America. And they would build them a British Open bunker to practice in. Masters Week, Frederica greens were stimped. Every morning, the superintendent would call the soup at Augusta and get a specific stimp number after they did their greens, and that's what they would stimp the greens on Frederica for the day. So Chris Kirk was out there right out of Cobby. He was driving like and again, I'll get into Chris Kirk just a second, but he was driving like a kind of crappy like Blazer. He didn't have any money. He was right out of college. His agent probably had some sponsors probably fronting him a little money to get him going, get him out there and going. And I didn't know it at the time, because the caddies were always out there to greet these guys and were ready to go with them, and we went with them all the time, and we were on first name basis. And their home course, they don't take their tour caddy with them on their home course. They take guys. We were there at the time to service them and give them that quality service. But I didn't know it at the time, but he had obviously a bad alcohol problem. But he was kind of a jackleg and wasn't very popular among the staff at Frederica. And fortunately, it's a really good story. I hate to see it. He had great success early on, but he was battling alcohol addiction, and then went into treatment, took some time off the tour, and did what he should, took care of himself first. And now he's come back, and he got his win this year, if I'm not mistaken, right, Ethan? He won this year.
The Honda Classic, he won. Yeah.
He won. And he's just had a stellar year. So, that's, again, when you're dealing with people, you never know what they're going through in life. I didn't really hold it against him. I didn't think he was like a terrible guy, but he was certainly not somebody that would ever have been called likable. And now I'm a huge fan of his. So it just goes to show you, always stay light on your feet. And that Chris Kirk play, I definitely like it. And I like Chris Kirk, and I would love to see Chris Kirk to continue to have success in life. Good guy.
Yeah, same.
The difference?
Good hit.
Chris Kirk.
Yeah.
I'll get into my comp selection. I put one out earlier on the Twitter. If you want to go on there, log on to your Twitter, go to Commonwealth CW Sports Betting on Twitter, and you will see where I put out a comp selection for the Twitter world. That's where we have been blistering pretty much straight across the board, YouTube and Twitter lately. And we have all the bet stamp stuff. So again, when the haters come out of the woodwork like DW, we just can post how much money that we're making people. And you know who you're not seeing hate on us is people that are getting our plays and making money. Unfortunately, they're happy with us. Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Isn't that funny? Ethan?
It is. It is pretty funny.
That's right.
It's pretty funny.
I did that research that I blabbed on about the how many people have done that. So that forced me on to look at who had top 20 in the last 4. That was Rory, and that was the X-Man. And I logged on the X-Man again. I did this at MGM. I probably should have got a better price than I did. You can hammer me. All the sharps will say I bought a bad number. I bought a bad number last week with Justin Rose, and he was never out of the top 10, I don't think, on on a top 20.
I don't think that's a bad number when it wins, right?
Well, and really, it's all about value. I feel like a guy that's been top 20 for 4 consecutive years in a tournament, and he's minus 135. Like, think about that in baseball terms. Minus 135. You don't run away from that in baseball. It's a little.
No.
It's a high end of what I like, but I ain't running from it if I feel like I have a really good chance of winning it. Which a guy that's been top 24 straight years in it. But then you'll say, Ray, his recent form must be crap. You're right. His recent form. Let's look at that. So we'll go back to the Players. That's oddly enough in March. He was T19 at the Players, so you cash your top 20 there. At the Masters, let's go to a major, the Masters. T10, cash the top 20 there. Let's go to South Carolina, Harbor Town, great golf course, RBC Heritage. You got it. No way you're going to win 3 straight top 20s. Yep. He came in fourth. Top 20 bet cash is there. So then, I mean, we can pick this one apart all we want. It is a team event at Zurich. I believe it's a Zurich Classic of New Orleans, TPC Louisiana. He T4'd there with his partner. So I don't know. He probably can't do it. North Carolina is going to slow him down. So what South Carolina didn't. He went to the Wells Fargo. Another, I think that's a designated event, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe so.
You sweated that top 20 a lot. And then let's go to another major. Let's go to the PGA at Oak Hill up in New York, right?
Yeah.
No way he's going to keep this up. He T18 there. So at that point, you've cashed 3-6 straight top 20s on him. And so, of course, you played him at the Memorial. Why wouldn't you? Well, he did. He really let you down there. You didn't win there because he went T24. So you probably T20, obviously, by one shot over 70.
Yeah.
Minus 135, I don't like to lay it. I'd rather have probably a little lower number there. But again, having the ability to tie the bet and cash is probably best getting 125 on it, quite frankly. I like the chances of that one. So my official comp selection will be the X-Man, Xander Schauffele, top 20, minus 135, courtesy of BetMGM in Virginia. Just to talk about what we do have, I don't have everything in front of me, but I was talking to Ethan earlier. I've got quite a few plays that we've released already to clients. We're going to release a couple more. Right before the show started, I released that play right there to them, and we've got a full slate. So if you want to bet the U.S. Open, we'll again, we are the home of the custom package. You can call us and say, "Hey guys, I don't want to bet baseball. I just want your U.S. Open bets." Well, I'd probably tell you, how about you like golf? You want to bet golf majors? We'll give you the U.S. Open, we'll give you the British Open, and we'll give you one price for both. And you're going to love the price. So, listen, the winners are posted. We have it on BetStamp. If you want us to share the last week, the last month, the last 3 months, I don't care. We'll share it. It's on there. I didn't document it. BetStamp did. I just pressed the buttons that said track. That's all we did. We did the handicapping and the tracking. They actually handled it from there. So. Ethan,
the verification.
Final thoughts, Ethan. Final thought. We're going to keep this thing under an hour. We're both not getting fined.
We can't get fined. I can't get fined 3 straight shows. But hey, I'm excited. I've always liked the U.S. Open. You got you always have what they call the longest day in golf, the 36-hole qualifier they do, and you got cool stories of people qualifying after playing every tour known to man and finally making their breakthrough because they could qualify. And then you got heartbreak where you guys missed the qualifier by one putt or something like that. So it's cool to see these younger guys too also coming in. Keep your eye on keep your eye on Preston Summerhays out of ASU. Let's go. I think he does. I think he can do something. He's good collegiate golfer, but it's always nice to see. It's always nice to see these like younger guys coming in, guys getting their first opportunity and stuff like that. Basically, trying to make a name for themselves as either amateurs or collegiate golfers right now. So I'm excited. Get to learn a lot of new names basically too that you never hear before. But it's fun, and I'm excited to watch it.
Look at DW. DW won't quit. He's so funny. And
Oh
unlike
my
your
gosh.
free picks that lose, my picks win. I love money.
I
Watch to track your free picks. So go on Twitter,
love.
you dumb fuck, and look on there at the free picks. Go on YouTube and listen to the free picks, and
Oh man.
call me out come on Twitter and call me out, and I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you all the bet stamp stuff you want to see, third party, independent monitored results. And if you're making that kind of money, then why are you watching this preview right now? That's what's really weird.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you
it is
just want to
weird, you
come
know?
here and talk shit. Like I tell you
I
what,
think
dude,
so.
I'll give you my address. I'll give you my address and you can come. I don't know. You might kick my ass. But you're gonna have to get my big dog and about 31 guns. So this Twitter chat, YouTube, stupid talk shit on social
I mean,
media.
I won like about three.
Why are you trolling me? What is your infatuation with us?
I don't know.
I'm gonna bring down free content. I'm GW. Smash, free content. Just turn it the fuck off, dude.
Yeah, that's what I do. I usually just turn away if I don't like something. I like turn it off. I'm like,
sorry.
I just don't watch it.
I apologize. I went on 2 tangents tonight. I don't normally do that. You guys know me. I don't. It's not me. I love peace, love, happiness. Love conquers hate. Love will conquer DWs. He does it. He on this wings. Show him.
I mean, it's just been 3 straight YouTube winners too. You know, I mean, I'm we're trying here, and also including the top 20 Justin Rose. You know, all we can do is try, and some people will hate, and some people will like it, and it's just what it is.
Hating, like I don't hate on.
I hate wings.
Like finger painting YouTube videos, and be like, you guys suck at finger painting. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, just don't log in. Stop watching.
Yeah.
Stop.
Don't have to. Yeah.
Suck, okay, we all admit it. We suck. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Are you happy now? You're happy.
That's all I needed to say, D-Dub. You hate wings. Okay. Well, okay. I think you pretty much let everybody in this chat and know where you're about everything. So for everyone at Commonwealth Sports, okay, for all the winners, touch grass. I love Sean Fuel.
Sean coming in hot. Let's go.
For you. Free 6 months. Let's go.
Let's go.
For everyone here at Commonwealth Sports, where love conquers hate, show was brought to you again today. We got our sponsor, Good Child
Let's go.
Inc.
Let's go.
We're happy to have them. We do me and Ethan get free tire rotations for that. So, D-Dub, we're winning in that regard, buddy. For everyone at Best Pie Bets, at Ray Gray Fox, at CWSportsBetting.com. We're going to be watching the U.S. Open. We've got free content out there for you. I want you guys to stay tuned, all of the loyal listeners and viewers. Low and Away, the baseball podcast, will be continuing. Ethan will be the permanent host moving forward. The content is at his discretion when he wants to deliver it, how he wants to deliver it, and what he wants to deliver. So just another way we're featuring young talent here on Commonwealth Sports Betting. If you don't know who he is, you better ask somebody, because he's making a lot more people money than he's costing anybody money. So, Ethan, thank you for all you've done for Commonwealth since you've been here.
Thank you. Yeah.
Helping me be a better handicapper. We're going to be excited.
Thank you too. Yeah.
U.S. Open, and we do like watching golf, and we actually enjoy talking about it. Want to shout out Kim Hastings has made money this month with Commonwealth free picks. Oh,
thank you.
God.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim.
Kim. Let's go.
Oh man.
Going about there. DW has just got so many people
Hey, we tracked all the picks, man.
What's honest sake.
Man.
So I'm going to thank everybody in this chat, Ethan. I'm going to thank Kim, Sean Fuel, you're a dog. Joe O, old school, we love you. Susan Curry from La Jolla. Joe O again. Kim again. We want to thank everybody that's been with us. Tom D was with us tonight. And Carol Ann, present and loves golf. To everybody, Commonwealth Sports Betting. We appreciate you. Ethan will be back Monday through Wednesday. Stay tuned for the podcast Low and Away. He will post on his, and Commonwealth will post on ours when you can find that. We will give you ample selection. It's a podcast. You can listen to it anytime between when he records it and the next day, and you'll get a winner. For everybody here at Commonwealth Sports, including all the haters, including all the people that come after us.
Another viewer. We'll take another viewer.
Yeah, we had to be like, I watched the whole 1 hour and 3 minutes he watched to hate on us.
Oh my goodness.
I'm loving me some BW. Let's go. US Open week. I hope everybody has a great week. Be safe. Take care of one another. Love conquers hate. We'll talk to you soon. Commonwealth Sports Betting out. US Open week.